Greetings. Hope this finds you well. So I came across a pretty interesting conversation on Black Power Media over the weekend. It's hosted by Jared Ball and Renee Johnston. And they were talking about Cornel West switching from running as a Green Party candidate for president to now running as an independent and analyzing that. And I thought Renee in particular had some really interesting perspective and analysis on this. So I thought we would take a look and discuss.
It's good that everybody has liked, shared, and subscribed and has the bell rung so that you never miss all the stuff that's coming and being offered. But how should we proceed?
I feel like given the post, right? Like what's I don't like going to watch something and then
they take forever to get to it.
They give you they run
right,
the
so let's get to it.
So
let's get to it. The big news
that.
of the day, we got the press release was sent out 2 days ago, October 5th. Stein and Baraka wish Dr. West good luck.
Well, that's
firm support.
Jill Stein and Ajamu, Baraka, they were the Green Party candidates. Jill was running as the presidential nominee, Ajamu as the vice president in 2016 for the Green Party.
Support for a strong Green presidential campaign. Coming out of Boston, Ajamu Baraka and Jill Stein, previously advisors to the West campaign, today wished Cornel West well.
He was only with the Greens for 4 months. Wow.
In his upcoming independent presidential campaign in the following statement. As colleagues who helped persuade Dr. West to pursue the Green nomination, we appreciate the good faith effort he has made over the past 4 months. Running solo, however, may better suit his long-standing role as a fiercely independent voice of moral authority. While we share Dr. West's formidable commitment to peace and justice, we are respectfully parting ways at this juncture as we are committed to building an independent, people-powered party as an indispensable vehicle for challenging empire and oligarchy for the long haul. In light of Dr. West's decision to run independently, we are in discussion with several former candidates about potentially entering the race to carry the Green Party's anti-war, pro-war,
maybe it ends up being them again, right? Who knows?
Climate emergency agenda into this critical election. With the Democratic Party now leading the charge for war and censorship, betraying workers in the rail strike and dropping the $15 minimum wage, outdoing Trump in new fossil fuel projects on public lands, and voluntarily resuming crushing student debt payments when people are barely scraping by paycheck to paycheck. For all these reasons and more, we need an independent, corporate-free People's Party more than ever. In deciding to run as an independent, the West campaign leaves behind the ballot lines they would have had access to, as well as the guidance of experienced ballot access staff and Green volunteers familiar with the process in most of the 50 states.
Yeah, because you're basically having to start again from the ground as an independent candidate when at least the Green Party does have some political infrastructure, does have ballot access. I think it's in 18 states. Now you have to go back to zero.
We expect this will be a formidable obstacle in the coming months. Though Dr. West won't be running with our team, he is offering an inspired, courageous example to voters and candidates alike. We believe he is making an immeasurable contribution to the 2024 election, and for that we are deeply grateful. Given our similar visions and agendas, we will continue to look for synergy on the road ahead. End quote. Woo!
They said a whole lot. They said a whole lot. Yep, sip the tea. So what's wild to me is, and this is the one part of this that I feel like people are just not really.
And I believe Renee is a member of the Green Party in New Jersey, just for some reference.
Talking about.
Just shout out Black Power Media in general. They put out some amazing shows and content.
And this is the part of it that's most frustrating for me, is when he first announced and he was going to run MPP, we were all like, Did you not?
Movement for a People's Party, which even made a whole lot more sense, right, than running as a Green or as a independent. Like the Movement for a People's Party is just a mess, just a crap show, right?
Do your research? Do you not know who these people are? You've been involved with them for all these years. What's going on? How did this happen? What made you make this decision? Come to find out, it was phone calls and conversations, and he just decided to run for president. So, okay. So he changes his mind because after he starts hearing different things, phone calls and conversations and Zoom meetings, now he decides he's going to go do something else. Now he's going to run Green Party. Okay. Everyone gets excited running Green Party. People were, as you know, really unhappy with me for not jumping on a bandwagon and being really excited that he was going to run Green Party. But my question at the time had been the same question when he initially started, which was, what is the plan? You're going into this, how exactly are we going to move forward for this to become something that is viable and reasonable and actually work towards improving the material conditions of regular working people? People didn't like that question. Okay, no problem. So now, fast forward, and all of this, I'll remind everybody, has happened in 4 months. Not like we're talking a super long amount of time. 4 months, this is all transpiring. So now,
so the 4 months, that was in reference to first doing the People's Party, flirting with that, to Green, to now as an independent. Wow.
It's, well, we're not really comfortable with the Green Party. There's some issues with the ballot access issue, this idea of having to run within the party as well as having to run an independent campaign at the same time.
She's going to point out, so I'm going to spoil it, but shouldn't you have known that ahead of time, right? Shouldn't you know what the ballot access situation was with the Greens before you decided to run as a Green? Shouldn't there have been some research, some input either by Cornel or his team, family, friends, advisors, whatever it may be, about what the situation was on the ground with regards to ballot access and then the nomination process? So either you didn't do the research ahead of time, or you thought you'd be able to do it and then realized you wouldn't. I mean, either way, it's not a great look, right?
Time simultaneously, all these things, the money, yada, yada, yada. Now we're going to run independent. So now you're making a third choice because you didn't properly analyze your first two choices. So now we're going to choice 3. And we still have yet to have an answer of, what exactly are you going to do? How are you going to make this work? What is your plan?
Yeah, because as an independent, right, the Greens obviously don't have a huge amount of, infrastructure or ton of on the ground volunteers for, collecting signatures to get, him on the ballot as a Green Party candidate, in these different states. But there is a little bit there. As an independent, you're completely starting from scratch. There is no political party, no organization behind you. Yeah, like Renee is saying, what is the plan there? Is there a plan? Is it just kind of, I don't know, flying by the seat of your pants, if you will?
Because he's now, for all of the things that are not perfect and not great within the Green Party, they at least had some ballot access in some places. They at least have, state parties, state groups in over 40 states in the country. So there is information that's available and people on the ground that are available to help you with your campaign.
Yeah.
And you've now said,
so you could have tapped into that already existing infrastructure in the 40 states like Renee is talking about, and that could have went, to get some of the effort to get those signatures done, to get the, message out there, to try to get more people to volunteer, etc. Now you're completely starting from scratch. And again, the election is little over a year from now. That it would have been a huge task with the Green Party. It's even a bigger task running as an independent. I don't necessarily think it's going to be any easier for Cornel running as an independent, unfortunately.
for whatever reason, and there seems to be a whole lot going on behind the scenes, and I am not privy to a lot of these conversations because I'm not in the central and national committee for the Green Party. But it seems to me like there was a real conflict with regard to what he was going to need to do, in the sense that he was going to have to run for president and simultaneously run for the Green Party nomination.
Yeah.
It seems to me that he knew that when he said yes, or he should have.
Yeah, exactly. You should have known that, right?
Have known that when he said yes, because that's an automatic part of the process. So when we're looking at it now, I want people to really look at this and understand that there is no good answer to why he decided to do this right now, because you're either deciding to do it because you didn't pay attention to the very real situation that you were getting yourself involved in to understand that this is where you were going to go, or you paid attention, didn't really comprehend it, but thought you were going to be able to manage it, and then 2.5 months later realized that it was going to be too much for you. But you're running for president, so neither one of those options is really a
good. I mean, it's a huge commitment running for president, and you should, go in with eyes completely open to what needs to be done, right? No matter what kind of party affiliation.
Good answer to why this is happening right now. And so, it's really, to me, just more evidence that this was kind of jumped into without real thought. He obviously,
and it does seem that way, right? Like MPP, it's a shit show for a number of reasons. Okay, Green Party, nah, that ain't gonna work. A little bit later, let's run independent.
Let me not say obviously. In my opinion, when it was brought to him, this idea of, hey, why don't you run for president? Maybe there should have been a little more time and research done versus just having, phone calls with your friends to decide whether or not this was a good idea. Because this is serious business that we have going now. And now, to me, it just
not just like picking out what what clothes you want to wear, at the start of the day.
Looks silly, like all this jumping around from thing to thing.
It does. I think, to Renee's point, it does make you look a little unserious, right? When this is very serious, business, running to be the president of the United States, trying to curtail the empire to make sure the needs of the working people, the oppressed people, both here and abroad, are being taken care of. It's serious business, so you need to go into it with a very clear plan of what you need to do and what needs to be done to make that happen. And it seems like, Cornel is just kind of going back and forth with these political parties. Not a great look, in my opinion, right? What do you think? Let me know down below.
To run for the president of the country, and you can't even figure out like your path to doing that, and now we're on step 3 of choices, and you expect me to just be like, no, this is cool. We're good. He's going to run independent. People don't understand how difficult running as an independent is. Like, yes, in some states, it's significantly less work. Some states, you can actually just pay a fee and you'll be on the ballot and it's no problem. But some states, you have to get a percentage of the amount of people who voted in a prior election. That's not a small amount of people in those states. We're not, it's not a couple of thousand people, it's tens of thousands of people. And you didn't have a plan when you were running with a party that had state work happening already on the ground. So you now removed yourself from this, and you're going to just do it on your own. But how? Because you didn't have a plan when you had an entire organization that was going to support you.
Yeah,
to what she's saying. So I just looked up for California for 2020, needed about 1% total number of registered voters in the state, which was then just under 200,000. So, and again, like she was saying, you would at least have some Greens on the ground already in place in California to help get those almost $200,000 signatures to get him on the ballot there, when he'd have already been on the ballot in around 18 states if he didn't end up becoming the Green Party nominee. So he was saying during his interview with CNN, and what it has to do with, ballot access and the nomination process. But she was saying, Renee was saying, you should have already known that going in. It's not a good look. Makes you look a little, these efforts look a little unserious.
Yeah, I can't claim to get it. So just a couple things quickly. One, I think, folks, it's safe to expect that Ajamu Baraka will be on the remix Tuesday morning. Cornel West, I did reach out to him. Cornel West said he is grateful but traveling, so he's not going to be able to join us in the immediate. And the other thing was that because I know there was a line in there about them reaching out to former candidates, and that Ajamu had previously mentioned my name. Nobody has reached out to me, so I can break that news too. So, and beyond that, I have no idea what's going on. I don't think he does either, to be honest. And I am not clear what the strategy is.
The kid, maybe
at this point. So I'll be very interested to see what Ajamu and Jill come up with, and what the other Green Party nominees are going to come up with. Obviously, we're going to continue to follow Claudia and the PSL race. But
yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, no. I don't know, but this again, I keep coming back to this whole thing of I'm not involved enough, but I always wonder what are these parties doing in between? What is the Green Party or anyone who has an eye or some idea that they're going to eventually have something to say about electoral politics doing in the interim to bring it forward, myself included. Although the only thing I would say as my own saving grace is this constant attempt to bring up the after party idea. But but that's not real. So I don't know. I'm shocked by this. I can't imagine what the plan for West is with this.
Right. So it's on, your after party is also on our little sheet.
Right.
because I do think that is part of the problem with the Green Party, is there has been a real lack of work that is happening once the presidential campaign is done. And so Jill Stein did an interview on Sabby Sab show, and
okay, I'm gonna end it here, but I thought that was a pretty interesting analysis and very substantive, critique about Cornel West, making these switches, first MPP, then Green, now independent. I don't know. After hearing this discussion, it doesn't come across as well as maybe I thought it would before. So it seems a little sus, all these changes he makes. I tend to agree with Renee. It makes the campaign not seem quite as serious as it should, because this is serious business. You're not choosing between coffee or tea here. You're choosing between what political party best represents you, or what label. So now he's independent. So let me know what you think down below. Peace, much love, all part of the people.